Well, Mr. Yinusa Tanko, who is the chairman of National Conscience Party, is still with us in the studio. Well, that report that played just before they came back to us, detailed just what had happened. On Wednesday, he was expected. He did not show up. And then they gave him another day, which was Thursday. Yesterday, he eventually did show up, but not in his uniform. And now they have, told him to appear next week, Wednesday, in uniform. How do you think this is going to end?
When I first saw his appointment, I was actually worried. And why I was worried was that I looked at the career custom officers most of them are aspiring to reach the pinnacle of their career. And that particular position momentarily was short-lived by his own appointment because he's not in that particular career service. But now that the situation is like this, for me, it could have been easier for him to really look at the laws and find a way of meeting the Senate President and discussing this matter before he appears. If the laws or the position of the National Assembly is that he must wear the uniform and the laws are there, he should wear the uniform. But where there are no laws and then the National Assembly really see it in black and white, then they should allow him to answer most of the questions.
For some of them, it's not about the laws. They believe it's a question of morale.
Well, it's not even an issue of morale. For majority of them, they feel that he is arrogant. That is the way the posturing is. And, the interview that he granted on TVC made them feel as if he feels that he is untouchable. He cannot be reached. So they now want to compel him to show their own power collectively as one, that they are speaking on behalf of Nigeria. And that's probably some of the things that is going around even in the social media that is arrogant. So the thing is that he need to have a team of his own people to have a meeting, an indoor meeting with the Senate President on this matter before he appears.
Okay, so that's on the one hand. But this week also, the Senate has been very busy. We also saw the rejection a second time of the acting EFCC chair, Mr. Ibrahim Magu.
Yes.
What did you make of it?
Conspiracy. The conspiracy, you hear a lot of things, unconfirmed stories. Now, Magu happened to be a pawn in the park. At a point in time, he has a solid listening ear of Mr. President. And where some of the people are saying that he actually supposed to report directly to the office of the DSS. Okay? Now, the conspiracy is within the villa, the National Assembly, and the DSS. Why I say so is this. The report that you see, there are two reports. Why two reports? How? What happened? How can you have two reports on one same individual? And don't forget, the same EFCC boards have an issue to grant with the Senate itself, even the leadership. You understand? And then there are issues also, of course, it's unconfirmed rumors, that probably there are some of Mr. President's most close associates that Magu has information about. So people now network. It's the issue of protecting your own interests against a person who is trying to expose you. That's where the issue of corruption now comes in.
So you believe that he was not dismissed on merit?
No, not really. I'm not too satisfied with the way he answered some of the questions. When you are going to a war, because that is a war, that you are going, you must be prepared. You must be seen that you can answer questions articulately, so that you will be able to defeat your opponent on facts. When you are being asked questions and you cannot answer some of them, you give room for people to crack into your walls.
It is interesting that you use the analogy of a war,
yes,
not an interview.
No, because...
Why a war?
A war in the sense that he is seen to be representing the interests of quarters who are feeling that the government is fighting corruption headlong. And here you are going into a National Assembly that some of them are also being accused of corrupt tendency. It becomes a war. And especially in a democratic setting. So you must be able to prove your point beyond reasonable doubt to show that you are well grounded in the information that you have. You must have confidence and power behind you. That this is what you are saying, and you really know what you are saying, you know your audience. But in this situation, the way the questions are being answered, I wasn't too satisfied.
So if you were a senator in that chamber, listening to him, during his screening, answering questions, would you have voted for him to continue, or would you have rejected him?
Well, there are different scenarios here. We in the NCP uphold corruption. Of course, we will support anything that had to do with fighting corruption. But what we will not support is that when you have an officer in a position that cannot be able to defend his own position very well, we will have a problem with that. You must be strong to be able to know exactly what you are saying and be able to defend it with facts and figures.
So, with hindsight now, you say initially you sensed conspiracy.
Yes.
But then again, you were not satisfied in terms of how he presented himself on the floor of the Senate.
Yes.
So even if you were sensing conspiracy before, do you think that the senators had sufficient grounds to reject him?
Well, and that has to come with the issue of policy and politics. The truth about it is that if there are strong conspiracy, it becomes a strong bound. In politics, they say that the majority will have their way and then the minority will have their say. There may be some who will prefer that it is being confirmed. Okay? There are some majority of them will say no. So it becomes, you see, in politics, there is this issue that is called lobbying and getting facts. I was expecting that before he even appeared, he must have done his own groundwork, being that he's going there for the second time.
But, some people say that there are senators who are willing to vote for him. Quite a number of senators. I think we heard a senator saying that he had campaigned for him, ensure that his colleagues were receptive to him coming back a second time. But that after listening to him on the floor of the Senate, he was very disappointed.
So you see, even he said he has brothers in the Senate. He has brothers. So he should have been prepared. And even if you are going to miss questions, you missed one or two, not even the issue of saying that how much have we now generated or you recovered. And you said you don't know.